Hello everyone, Ace here, and today it would seem that the vote blue no matter who mantra of the left has finally reached a practical limit. A boundary to which, once you go further, they'll essentially decree that no, actually we shouldn't vote for this person just because they're blue. Who they are as a person and what they push is so fundamentally abominable that trying to do so only hurts the party in the process. And make no mistake, the only reason that this boundary has been found to exist is purely strategic rather than for any legitimate moral concerns. I do not believe that any of the vote blue no matter who crowd really cared what Graham Platner has actually been accused of doing in a moral sense. They only care that it makes them look bad because they chose to support him because he's blue. Now, for those who are not aware, Graham Platner has been accused of the absolutely boilerplate accusations levied towards a politician in the modern era, at least during election season when he's running for office, which is to say that someone has said that he has engaged in bad touch behavior several years ago that they never bothered to file a police report on and have almost zero evidence to actually substantiate such a claim. I am not going to say that Graham Platner is for sure 100% innocent. What I am going to say is that he should be made to face an investigation and, if necessary, a trial. The accusations are indeed severe, and should he indeed be guilty of these crimes, be made to face justice for it. I 100% support his alleged victims filing a police report on him over this. Now, this may seem like a common sense take, and that's because it is. And you might think the story is not interesting as a result. I disagree, there is an interesting element here, but it's not so much with the allegations themselves that make this interesting. It's all of the other things that the left have outright defended in the lead up to this particular controversy. Various things that Graham Platner has either said or done that is controversial, and things that more importantly are far more substantiated as far as the evidence is concerned. It's really funny that the Democrats try to pretend to be against Nazism, despite the fact that the guy that they have up until recently been defending has an SS tattoo on his chest, with the defense being vote blue no matter who. And like I said, it's just one of a litany of controversies surrounding Graham Platner. Controversies that have been defended or ignored as vote blue no matter who. And this of course leads me to the main and obvious, but nevertheless still important critique of vote blue no matter who. Vote blue no matter who as a mantra gives the left a blank check to promote whatever atrocities they want, and in some extreme cases even do whatever atrocities they want, specifically because at least they're blue. If Adolf Hitler himself were to be resurrected and run for Democrat, the vote blue no matter who crowd would still support him because he's blue. He could openly mention all the terrible things he would want to do and they would still support him because he's blue. And don't you know, vote blue no matter who. This is also, by extension, why we have examples of activists in college openly advocating for the genocide of entire groups of people, only to then receive praise from the academic community, specifically because they hold the correct politics. Vote blue no matter who is, unsurprisingly, an example of outright naked and open tribalism. Yet the same sort of people that style themselves as reasonable and sound, and who argue that both sides are equally bad and that we need to abandon tribalism, will happily ignore the mantra of vote blue no matter who, as will the establishment ignore vote blue no matter who. Because it's not tribalism that's actually the problem for these individuals and for the establishment. It's the fact that you do not hold the correct politics. And yes, we have finally arrived at the point where vote blue no matter who has to be somewhat distanced from by the left, because they've reached the inevitable brick wall that they would be by default pushing people that would actively hurt their own cause. And that really does say it all at the end of the day. This change of heart was not the product of a sudden rediscovery of morality or a new appreciation of ethics. This was a case of a bunch of tribalistic hacks realizing that they had backed the wrong horse and that their side was going to suffer as a result in terms of popularity. And also make no mistake that should it come to pass that Mr. Platner decides not to drop out and instead remain as the premier Democrat candidate for his particular race, a good number of those rats will jump back on to the sinking ship that has slowly started to right itself. even as it still continues to dip below the waves. Because after all, vote blue no matter who.